Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning to this, the Friday edition. It's Friday, yeah, boy. Man, what a week it's been. I hope you've enjoyed my return, first week of Vuka Nazo. With that being said, remember, do me a favor, please. Hit that like button whether you're watching this simulcast on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube in particular, well then do me an even bigger favor, subscribe to the channel. Join the more than 37, nearly 38,000 of you now who are fans of the BDL show. And remember, we do have a website, that's bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can pledge some financial support to the show. 100 Rand a month is more than enough for you to pledge in order to allow us to do the liberty advocacy work this year. Now, enough of that jibber jabber. Let's get straight into the news. All right, this week, of course, has been dominated by stories of load shedding, which, as you'll know, since the beginning of this year, we've had every single day, and most of last year too. Well, effectively, let me bring you full circle on this story, because I gave you, of course, where we are at the moment with the worst ever load shedding in a while, stage 6, and of course, a president. A corrupt kleptocrat of one Cyril Ramaphosa opting not to go to the WEF's Davos Hobnob meeting, to all the billionaires and globalists meet, of course, opting not to go in order to deal with this crisis.
How quaint.
I told you, of course, that from that decision stemmed his emergency plan with the 6 useless bullet points that I prepped you enough yesterday to not expect much of. And indeed, South Africans are not expecting much of it, because the violent protests that we covered in a previous episode are continuing and are spreading. This time in Cato Crest here in Durban, a 3-day long electricity outage, again sparking violent protest, which of course comes, these 3-day power outages, in addition to the load shedding frustration that people experience there. This piece in The Independent had this to write up. According to community sources, disgruntled groups blocked off Mary Thip road on Thursday night. They placed tires and trees along the road and set it alight. Residents also threw dirt onto the burning pile. On Wednesday morning, parents were forced to find an alternate route to the 2 schools in the neighboring Manor Gardens community. By the afternoon, fresh piles of burning debris were scattered on the road. The roadway was opened just after 4:30 p.m. after the Manor Gardens Residents and Ratepayers Association, Public Order Police and private security attended to the protest. End of quote. Just listen to that. Just listen to the situation of what I warned would be a descent into chaos. There will be very little in the way of those who are responsible for this responding to this nonsense. I mean, listen to how it had to take the Manor Gardens Ratepayers and Association, a small contingent of the public order police and mostly private security to actually respond to this. And it's not really their place to respond to this. The police, yes, insofar as the violence, but those other 2 groupings, no. The municipality and even ESCOM should be responding to this. The politicians involved should be responsible for this. I've told you once and I've told you again, nothing will change until the very politicians whose ideology is doing this are removed from office, because it is those same politicians who are cowardly and will not face the heat when the effects of their bad decisions literally come home to roost, like these chickens have. All right, some good news to help end off our news week. Good and bad, but ended off relatively good. It's a confusing story, but let me get into it. Johannesburg is where I take you to the Zinatul Islam Masjid. That is, of course, a mosque in Johannesburg, which came under attack by gunmen who basically stormed into the mosque as these congregants at the time were going through their Isha prayers, which are evening prayers. Now, First of all, when I read the story, I was immediately incensed because of how seriously I take my faith. For example, in my 3 prayers a day, Muslims, of course, praying 5 times a day. And I'll be incensed if someone stormed a shul as we're doing evening Mariv prayers, as is the case here. But nonetheless, these 3 assailants, as is reported, entered the mosque and proceeded to try and rob the congregants. Now, thankfully, inshallah is how the Muslims say it, and indeed, thank you God, in this, one of the brothers in that particular mosque was armed and returned fire to these criminals, and indeed struck 2 of them, as the reports go. Let me quickly read from this independent piece, which cited the director of the mosque, one Kari Musa, who gave an account of what happened. He had this to say. Now, speaking to Independent Online on the scene, the director of the mosque, Kari Musa Sedat, said that the incident occurred after 9 p.m. Open quote, at the time of the evening prayer at 9 o'clock, there was a robbery that was taking place at the mosque. The prayer was in motion. People were praying, and then guys walked in. We don't know how many of them. And one brother, when he saw people with guns, immediately turned around and shot in defense. God bless that man. One of the robbers is dead, and another was taken to hospital. We don't know how many there were in total, but we leave it to the police to do the investigation. End of quote, according to Sedat. And again, as I said, it's a beautiful, beautiful story for a change. It reinforces what I've told you once, and I'll tell you again. No one is coming to save you. You are your own first responder. When a situation like this pops off and you realize you're being accosted by criminals, you are your own first defender. This is why I've always said, if it's anything that you should do in 2023 as a resolution, get licensed, get training, get a firearm, and keep training, keep training, keep training. Have a defensive mindset so that you keep yourself and your family safe. Now, as I said, the story is actually kind of convoluted, as after that particular scene, once the police had arrived, more action actually happened, and there was a further shootout. Let me quickly read from that independent piece again, which detailed the further chaos. Now, according to police spokesperson Colonel Dimakatso Silo, she confirmed this particular shooting incident, but also proceeded to say, while police attended to the crime scene, an unknown person or persons started shooting at the scene. During the shootout, 2 people, including a police officer, sustained gunshot wounds. Both victims were taken to hospital for medical assistance. 1 suspect is arrested, and 2 cases of murder and attempted murder, as well as attempted business robbery are opened for further investigation. End of quote. Now, of course, if you have any information on this, please contact the police, help them in this investigation. But I'll end this here just to say kudos to that young chap or man, or because there's no actually description of their age, but kudos to that man in the mosque who understands having a defensive mindset, carried their pistol or firearm on them, and defended the mosque goers at that time. All right, we end the segment with, of course, what you're coming to be accustomed to, which is either a champ of the week or a moemish of the week. This week we have a moemish, and the moemish of the week is Julius Malema. Oh my goodness, that red in tooth and claw commie is our moemish of the week. And why is Julius Malema our moemish of the week? Well, he got a bitch slap. Looks like him and Jacob Zuma this week have been bitch slapped by the courts. Indeed, the courts reaffirming the idea that no, Julius, you filthy commie, you're not allowed to incite people to break the law and invade property. You can't do that. The North Gauteng High Court reaffirming that. Let me quickly read this piece in Independent, which wrote it up quite nicely, writing the following. Now, the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria dismissed Julius Malema and the EFF's application to appeal against an interdict which AfriForum had acquired in 2017, which prohibited him and his party from calling on the public to invade and occupy any land of their choosing. Malema, of course, had been steadfast in his pursuit on calling on people to occupy vacant land however they wish. End of quote. Yeah, that's right. That's what the EFF literally stands for. Law breaking, and indeed breaking of the very sacred idea of private property, which they argue is something for whites and something for the rich only. Nonsense. Private property, and indeed property rights, is the very thing that from the poorest individual to the richest individual in a society guarantees that being a functional modern democracy, where you don't have private property rights, you have a state-run system, a state system where politicians and indeed the state enslaves you and demands that you do whatever its bidding is, and that's exactly what the EFF stands for. If you read actual EFF policy, it doesn't want to give people land and the ability for ordinary, especially black, poor individuals who they claim to represent. The EFF has no intention of giving poor black people ownership of land. It wants to make them renters, permanent renters of the land of their birth. And I say to hell with that, and to hell with the EFF. Well done to AfriForum for winning this round again in court. Indeed, Adams Roots, speaking about this, had this to say.
It explained that if you encourage people to trespass onto others' property and to occupy property belonging to others, then you are in fact encouraging them to commit a serious crime. And therefore, there's not a reasonable prospect that an appeal would succeed and the matter cannot be taken on appeal. Now, as we know, one court ruling doesn't solve the country's problems, but this is a very important ruling, and we are grateful for every AfriForum member who have contributed to making these successes possible.
Yep, that's right. And again, kudos to AfriForum for giving the EFF another bloody nose. Let's hope with the cost order that was awarded to you guys, in other words, the EFF having to pay your costs, that that money will go into further protecting South Africans against the EFF and its terrible red in tooth and claw left-wing commie nonsense. All right, that's it for this episode of Vuka Nazo. Remember, if you like how we start your morning news, well then visit our friends over at the Daily Friend, who come to you Monday to Thursdays at 1 p.m, giving you, of course, a way in which you can wrap up your news day. Make sure you find them, of course, at dailyfriend.co.za. And with that being said, big thanks to you for watching the show. Remember, hit that like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube in particular. Help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We'll also visit our website at bigdaddyliberty.com. With that being said, have a great weekend. I'll see you at Sunday at 8 p.m. for Liberty and Friends. Don't miss it. Very interesting panel this week as we help you wrap up your news week with solid analysis you will get nowhere else. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. See you again on Sunday for Liberty and Friends, and Monday again for Vuka Nazo.